Why some men love cats. Have you ever noticed how people react when a man says he loves cats? Some laugh, some get surprised, some immediately assume he must be different. Because for a long time, society pushed this strange idea that men are supposed to love loud things, aggressive things, dominant things, big dogs, fast cars, competition, control. But a man who genuinely loves cats, that reveals something much deeper about his psychology than most people realize. And once you understand the mindset behind men who truly bond with cats, you may never look at them the same way again. Because cats are not easy animals. They don't blindly obey. They don't worship humans. They don't chase approval the way many other pets do. A cat chooses you. And that single fact changes everything. A man who loves cats is often someone who understands emotional patience in a way many people never learn. Cats cannot be controlled through force. You cannot yell at them into loyalty. You cannot dominate them into affection. If a cat trusts you, it's because you earned it slowly. And psychologically, men who are comfortable with that process tend to have a calmer emotional structure. They understand boundaries. They respect space. They know that love is not something you demand, it's something you build. That's why many men who love cats are surprisingly emotionally intelligent beneath the surface. Even if they appear quiet, reserved, or emotionally guarded, their ability to bond with a cat often reveals a person capable of deep emotional observation. Because cats communicate in silence. A tiny tail movement, a slow blink, a slight change in posture, a different meow. Most people miss these details, but cat lovers notice them instantly. Over time, this trains the brain to become highly observant of emotional energy. Many male cat owners become naturally skilled at reading moods, tension, and nonverbal behavior without even realizing it. And this creates something fascinating psychologically. They often become better listeners, not because they talk less, but because cats teach humans to pay attention without words. A cat will never sit you down and explain what's wrong. You have to notice. And men who truly connect with cats usually develop that awareness over years of bonding. Another thing people rarely understand: men who love cats are often comfortable with independence. Because cats themselves are independent creatures, they don't need constant validation. They don't panic when left alone for short periods. They enjoy companionship, but they also value personal space. And psychologically, many men who admire cats secretly admire those same traits: independence, quiet confidence, self respect. A cat does not perform for approval, and many men who feel exhausted by fake social behavior find comfort in that honesty. Cats are authentic. If they trust you, you know it's real. If they dislike something, they show it immediately. If they love you, they show it in subtle but genuine ways. There's no pretending. And for many men, especially those who struggle to trust people emotionally, cats feel emotionally safe. Because a cat's behavior is honest. That honesty becomes incredibly comforting. In fact, studies involving pet behavior and personality traits have shown that cat lovers often score higher in openness and sensitivity compared to people who strongly prefer dominance-based relationships with animals. Not weaker, not softer, just psychologically more comfortable with emotional nuance. And that difference matters because many men grow up in environments where vulnerability is discouraged. Don't cry, be tough, man up. Over time, many men learn to hide emotions so deeply that they even disconnect from themselves. But cats have a strange way of breaking emotional walls quietly. A man may never openly talk about stress, anxiety, loneliness, or heartbreak, but then his cat jumps beside him during a difficult night, and somehow that silence becomes therapeutic. No judgment, no expectations, no pressure, just presence. And psychologically, that type of companionship can become incredibly powerful for men who struggle with emotional expression. Some men even feel more emotionally understood by their cats than by people around them. And while that may sound dramatic to some cat owners, understand exactly what it means, because cats often sense emotional energy before humans say a word. Many cat owners notice their cats becoming unusually affectionate during periods of sadness, illness, stress, or emotional exhaustion. A cat may suddenly sleep beside you more often, follow you around, sit quietly near you without demanding attention. And for men who are used to carrying emotional burdens silently, this kind of quiet emotional support can feel life-changing. Another fascinating psychological trait common in male cat lovers is comfort with gentleness. And society often misunderstands gentleness in men. People confuse gentleness with weakness. But real gentleness actually requires emotional control. A man who can handle a tiny, fragile animal with patience, who understands trust, takes time, who avoids unnecessary aggression, often shows stronger emotional discipline than people realize. Cats force humans to slow down. You cannot rush trust with them, and many men who bond deeply with cats become calmer people because of it. Less reactive, more patient, more emotionally balanced, not all, of course, but very often. And here's something even more interesting. Many men who love cats are introverts, or at least mentally exhausted by constant social performance. Cats create peaceful companionship without overwhelming social demands. No fake conversations, no social masks, no pressure to impress anyone, just calm presence. For men who spend all day dealing with stress, work pressure, responsibilities, or emotional suppression, coming home to a cat can become the safest part of their day. And cats somehow understand routines in ways that feel deeply personal. Waiting near the door, following their owner into the room, sleeping beside them every night. These small behaviors create emotional stability, and psychologically, humans become deeply attached to predictable emotional comfort, especially men who rarely receive emotional softness elsewhere. Another thing people rarely talk about is how cats affect loneliness in men. Many men suffer loneliness silently. They may have friends, jobs, families. But emotionally, many still feel isolated because society often teaches men to suppress emotional needs instead of expressing them. Cats quietly fill emotional gaps many people never notice. A cat sitting beside a man during a stressful night may seem small to outsiders, but emotionally, it can mean everything. And unlike humans, cats don't care about status. They don't care how much money you make, how attractive you are, how successful you appear. A cat judges humans differently by energy, by consistency, by trust. And many men find relief in that because for once, they don't feel evaluated. They simply feel accepted. That emotional safety creates strong psychological attachment. But perhaps the most misunderstood thing about men who love cats is this: they are often far more emotionally deep than people assume. Not always loud about it, not dramatic about it, not expressive in obvious ways, but deep. Because connecting with a cat requires emotional subtlety. You must notice tiny details, respect boundaries, understand moods, accept independence, value quiet affection. And those same traits often appear in emotionally mature human relationships too. A man who truly understands cats often understands something important about love itself. Real connection cannot be forced. Trust cannot be demanded. Affection grows strongest when both sides feel safe. And maybe that's why so many men feel unexpectedly attached to cats. Because in a strange way, cats teach emotional lessons humans often forget: patience, respect, quiet loyalty, gentleness, presence. And sometimes the man sitting quietly beside his cat at night may actually be emotionally stronger than anyone realizes, because the world taught him to hide emotion. But his cat taught him it was safe to feel, again. And honestly, that says a lot about both cats and the psychology of the men who love them.